Díhuit, agus fáilte go Cundé Laois. We're here in County Laois today to talk about Irish wedding traditions. And I'm so pleased to introduce you to Gail Quinn. Welcome, Gail.
Thank you, Ciaran. Lovely to be here.
Yeah, isn't it? Beautiful
Great,
day.
great. We picked the best day of the summer, I think,
I
for
think we
our
did.
outdoor chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
How lucky are we?
Very lucky. Well, thank you for joining us. Gail Quinn is a humanist celebrant here in Ireland with lots of experience with preparing couples for their big day and celebrating their big day with them. So we're delighted to have you here, Gail, to talk us through like some of the things that couples do in Ireland on their wedding day. So tell us a bit about that. Like, how did you get into the wedding celebrating?
Yeah, well, I've been doing it for about 3 years now. I was part of the Humanist Association of Ireland, and then about 3 years ago made the change to be a full-time celebrant, and it's probably the most lovely job in the world, going around marrying couples in beautiful locations all over Ireland. So it's just lovely.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. And as a marriage solemnizer, the weddings that I would conduct are legal wedding ceremonies. But the legal part of it only takes about 5 or 6 minutes. It's actually quite short. So the remainder of the ceremony is made up with things to personalise that ceremony for the couple. So we do that with readings, some beautiful readings on love and marriage, with music. Sometimes I would tell the couple's story, how we got there, how they met and how they arrived ready to get married. And also what we're talking about today, the ceremonial elements, which really put a personal stamp on the ceremony for the couple. They really make it their own with these ceremonial elements. And they're great fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And you've picked out 5 for us to talk about today. So what would you like to talk about first?
Okay, so I suppose the first one, Ciaran, is we've got to go with the rings, because the wedding ring is an almost universal symbol of commitment and marriage. And this actually surprises me, but in all the weddings that I've conducted, and I've conducted a lot of weddings, every single couple has chosen to exchange rings. They don't have to, it's not a legal requirement, but people feel such an attachment to this ritual that they all want to do it. And of course the ring is the ideal symbol because it's circular, it has no beginning, it has no end, it's infinite, and so has lovely symbolism around the infinity of the love between the couple when they exchange rings on the day.
Lovely.
You might wonder why I have them in this little bag, this little organza bag. And this is actually an add-on to the ring exchange, which sometimes we do in the ceremony. And it's called the warming of the rings, or the warming of the wedding bands, or the wishing on the rings. The rings are passed through the hands of all the guests. Usually, I suppose typically it's the best man is in charge of the rings, not exclusively, but typically. The best man, let's say, hands the rings to one of the guests, and then I invite the guests to pass the rings in through all their hands. Everyone holds the rings for just a moment and makes a wish on the rings. And I would say to the guests, warm these rings with your hands and with your hearts and make a wish for this couple and their future together. And off the rings go through all the hands of the guests. We've
Beautiful.
Always got them back up until now anyway.
Right.
They've always come back
Yeah.
before the couple exchange them then later on.
Very nice.
Yeah, so it's lovely. It's a lovely one. So another ritual that we might do during the ceremony is the exchanging of the coins, where the couple give each other coins as a token of their commitment to each other. Yeah, you can pick one up there. These are lovely ones. I believe you organised these, Ciaran. They're quite heavy. They're silver.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, an ounce of silver, yeah.
An ounce of silver, and they have a beautiful pattern on the back and 2024 written on them. This is a lovely token for a couple to exchange. Sometimes they may use other things. Sometimes they might source a coin maybe from each of the year of their birth.
Oh, lovely.
Or if one of the couple is from another country, maybe a coin from that country.
Nice.
I recently conducted a wedding where the groom's grandfather had given him a millennium coin. I don't know if you remember back in the year 2000 in Ireland here, we had the punt at that stage, and the government created pound coins, which everyone had. So the groom's grandfather had saved a pound coin and given it to him when he was a teenager, and said, when you get married, you can give this coin to your wife on your wedding day.
Lovely.
And unfortunately, the groom's grandfather was no longer with him.
Right.
But it was a lovely thing to do at that stage in the ceremony, just to a nod to him.
Yeah.
Traditionally, I suppose the coin may have represented someone in the past providing for the other person.
Right.
As time has passed, there's been a subtle change in this where couples don't think now where one is providing for the other.
Right.
So they exchange the coins more as a sign of mutual stewardship and responsibility and planning for their future together.
Oh, lovely.
So really nice, and just very simple. Just to exchange the coins.
Very nice.
Yeah,
So-
it's
and-
a lovely one.
Yeah. And yes, what other traditions then? And
Well, this is a fun one.
oh,
Yeah. There's a few fun ones actually. This is the hand fasting ceremony, and it's actually really popular as well. It can be done with one hand fasting. We're going to do it later on today with 1 and 2, where I'm going to show you. But it can be done with multiple hand fastings as well. This is beautiful. This is called a kris. It's a traditional fisherman's belt. They're made in the west of Ireland. It's woven out of wool, pure wool. And you see the distinct colours in it. That in the past, the distinct colours would have represented a family. So a family would have had their own unique pattern that would have gone into the kris, so identifiable. But couples can order these for their wedding, and they can have whatever colours they like in it that they possibly identify with. And it's just one long length, and it's wrapped around the couple's hand, and an infinity knot tied in it.
I see.
Well,
And do you, as the celebrant, are you the person then that wraps the hands together with this
I
kris?
would wrap them usually, yes. Again, a guest would maybe bring this up
Right.
and drape it over their hands,
Yeah.
but I would wrap it round, and then I would ask the couple some vows while this is wrapped around their hand, and then it ends with them forming a knot with it.
Lovely.
If you want to do something in another style, you can do it with two pieces. I call them ribbons, and these are ribbons.
Yeah.
But sometimes couples choose to have a piece of fabric that is of sentimental value, maybe from an old garment belonging to a parent or someone who's now deceased. Or
Yeah.
there can be lots of different things. Sometimes they just choose the colours, the wedding colours, whatever the theme for the wedding is. And the two of these are wrapped around it's a different process of wrapping it. Again, I
Right.
wrap it,
Yeah.
but again, two guests can come up and bring one of these each, drape them over the couple's hands, so a nice way to get them involved.
Yeah.
And some vows are made, and then you form a knot with these as well. So, and I've seen people do it with 7, 8 and 9 different ribbons to represent different facets. And it's a lovely way to get maybe children to come up and bring a ribbon each.
Yes.
All multicoloured ribbons. It's really lovely. The main thing is to do, I suppose, what the couple feel comfortable with. So something that's meaningful for them as well, rather than just doing it for the sake of it, but to choose colours, choose materials, and choose bows that are meaningful for them.
Absolutely. And so do you, in preparation for a ceremony then, you would introduce these ideas to people, and they would then pick something then that resonates with them?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So I would, in the very early stages, I would send them a big their homework, I call it. I send them lots of options for readings and rituals, etc.
Yeah.
And if something appeals to them, then we'll have a meeting and we'll talk it through a little bit more, and I'll explain to them exactly what it involves and how they might then personalise it and make it their own and put their own stamp on the ritual when we do it on the day.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So we've some household goods here. Explain to
We
me what they're doing
we
here.
do. You may not expect to see these at a wedding, but we do. We have two colours. These are actually both salt. This is Achill Island salt, lovely and white. And this is a spicy salt. I've never seen salt this colour before, I have to say. Quite unusual. And a couple may mix their salts in a single vessel to represent their union and them coming together. Now, salt is very important today, but in the past it was even more important. It was incredibly a very valuable commodity.
Right.
And people making an agreement would, I believe, have had a little pouch of salt, and they would take a pinch of salt from their pouch and put it in the other person's pouch to really, that's my word. I'm giving you the pinch of salt. That is my word.
Yeah.
And of course, once the salt has moved from your pouch into the other person's pouch, you can't take it out again. You can't take all those grains out again. So
Right.
they're mixed forever.
Intermingled. Yeah.
And that's the thinking behind the salt.
Right.
So the couple will choose two salts, maybe two salts to represent some sort of facet of maybe their personality or their history together or their career. And they would be mixed then within. We'd also have this. We'd have an empty jar and they tip the salt in.
I see.
Yeah. A lovely thing about that is the couple can then bring the salt home after the wedding.
Yeah.
They can set it on their countertop in the kitchen and use away at it for whatever length of time it takes to go through the salt.
Nice.
And I would say to them, when you use the salt, think back on, okay, not every time maybe, but think back on your wedding day and the promises that you made to each other as you blended the salt at your wedding day. And then when the salt is gone, you can go out and buy more salt together and perhaps fill your salt jar together, looking back on that year or that time that has elapsed since your wedding day and looking to the future and maybe making plans for what you might do while you're using that second jar of salt, and so on and so on.
That's a lovely way
it's
for
really
it to
nice.
Perpetuate through the years.
Yeah, it is. And finally then, I'm keeping the fun one till last, is this one, is the Celtic drinking from the quake. So this is called a quake cup or a lover's drinking cup.
Right.
There's a bit of a debate here. The Scottish claim it as theirs, we claim it as ours.
Yeah.
And it's, you can see, this is actually my own. I bring this to ceremonies, and my couples use it. But sometimes people would get one themselves and they'd have it engraved with maybe their initials on the date of the wedding.
Very nice.
It's personalised for them. But I always have mine in the boot of the car.
Good.
And the idea is that the couple will take their first drink as a married couple together. So,
from the quake.
From the quake. Again, lots of opportunity to have family members involved. So the couple have made their legal declarations, they've signed the form, the paperwork, and at the end of the ceremony, we will end with this. The couple will hold it together and we will get two family members to come up with two different drinks, or two friends to come up with two different drinks. Again, these can be drinks that reflect you, maybe your taste in drinks, where you come from. Last summer I conducted the wedding for Suzanne and Sebastian, and Suzanne was from Dublin and we had Dublin gin. Lovely. Sebastian is from Munich and we had Munich tonic water. So we had the gin and tonic from the two cities representing their single lives together. And also a drink that I believe they're quite fond of, which helps as well.
Sliced lemon.
Yeah. So the guests come up, the two guests come up, they pour a wee nip just of each drink into the quake. And then one of the couple will hold the quake and drink from it, or sorry, they're both holding it, but one of them takes a drink and then it's passed towards the other, and while they're both holding it, the second person, usually if it's a bride and groom, the groom will finish it off, and to prove that the quake is empty, the groom will turn it upside down and sometimes for a bit of fun
put it on their head.
To show that it is indeed empty and they have finished the quake.
Very good.
So, they are just, I suppose, they're probably the top 5 of the rituals that are popular within a wedding. Generally, people don't do them all. Sometimes people do want to do them all, and I would urge them to maybe stick to 2 or 3 that are more meaningful, the ones that really resonate with them, and they really help to put that personal stamp then on the ceremony, which is what you want.
Absolutely. Well, this has been so educational, and thank you so much for coming and showing us the ways that you can that you personalise the big day for so many couples around Ireland. Thank you. Thank you, Gail Quinn.
My pleasure. It was lovely to meet you, Ciaran, and have a chat and show you everything we do.
Absolutely, and we may get you back on before long to talk about other ways to personalise ceremonies, including some maybe some kind of poems and songs by Irish men and women that are popular during ceremonies. But I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. It's been great fun.
Great.
Okay.
Lovely. Thank you.
Slán go fóill gach duine.